Commander Ji-Soo Kim rubbed her tired eyes. The blue light from the screen was the only source of light in her small lab aboard the Serenity *. For 3 nights in a row, she had checked and rechecked her findings. Each time, the same strange pattern appeared in the data. "Computer, run the analysis again," she said. The computer beeped. "Analysis complete. Anomaly still present." Ji-Soo sighed. The data showed a strange tear in space at the edge of the TOS-CD system. It was small, but it was growing. Whatever it was, it didn't match any known space phenomenon. She tapped her comm badge. "Captain Park, I need to speak with you. It's urgent." 10 minutes later, Captain Ta-Won Park walked into her lab. His face showed he was not happy to be called so late. "This better be important, Commander," he said, crossing his arms. Ji-Soo pointed to her screen. "Sir, I found something strange in our deep space scans. Look at this area here." She circled a dark spot on the star map. "This is not a black hole or a star. It's something else. I think it's a tear in space itself." Captain Park leaned closer, squinting at the screen. "A tear in space? That's impossible." "Not impossible, sir. Just never seen before. And it's growing." The captain straightened up. "Commander Kim, you've been working too hard. Get some rest. Your equipment is probably malfunctioning. I've checked the equipment 3 times. This is real." Captain Park shook his head. "I'm not going to alarm the crew because of a glitch. Run a full diagnostic on your systems. That's an order." After he left, Ji-Soo slammed her hand on the desk. No one ever listened. The next morning, things got worse. In the ship's main science lab, Dr. Han Sung, the chief science officer, was waiting for her. "Commander Kim," he said loudly enough for everyone to hear, "Captain Park told me about your discovery." He said the last word with a smirk. The other scientists looked up from their work. "Dr. Han, if you've reviewed my data, you know I'm right," Ji-Soo said. Han laughed. "A tear in space. Next you'll tell us aliens are coming through it." He looked around at the other scientists. "Remember last year when Commander Kim thought she found signals from another dimension in our warp drive tests?" The room filled with quiet laughter. Ji-Soo felt her face grow hot. "That theory was sound," she said. "And so is this one. Your theories are always creative, Commander. I'll give you that." Dr. Han turned away, dismissing her. "Run a diagnostic on your equipment. That's all this is." For the next week, Ji-Soo was alone. No one would help her. No one would listen. They called her Commander Crazy behind her back. She heard the whispers in the mess hall. She saw the looks. But the anomaly was still there, still growing. Late one night, as she worked alone again, the door to her lab opened. Engineer Do-Hyun Kang, her friend since their academy days, stepped in. "You look terrible," he said, putting a cup of coffee on her desk. Ji-Soo smiled weakly. "Thanks for the compliment." Do-Hyun looked at her screen. "So this is the famous tear in space everyone's talking about. You mean the thing everyone thinks I made up?" "Yes." Do-Hyun studied the screen for a long time. "You know I'm not a scientist like you. But I know you. You don't make mistakes." Ji-Soo felt a lump in her throat. Finally, someone believed her. "What do you need?" Do-Hyun asked. "I need to modify the long-range sensors to get better readings. But I don't have clearance." Do-Hyun smiled. "Good thing you know the chief engineer then." He took out his access card. "Let's find out what's really out there." For the first time in weeks, Ji-Soo felt hope. Whatever this thing was, she would find out. Even if she had to do it alone. Well, not completely alone anymore. 3 months passed. With Do-Hyun's help, Ji-Soo gathered more data on the strange tear in space. What she found scared her. "It's growing faster now," she told Do-Hyun one night in her lab. "Look at this chart. 3 months ago, it was the size of a small asteroid. Now it's as big as a moon." Do-Hyun frowned at the screen. "What do you think it is?" "I think it's a door," Jisoo said. A door between our universe and somewhere else. That sounds crazy, Do-hyun said, then quickly added, but I believe you. Jisoo smiled. Thanks, but belief isn't enough. I need to warn Earth. The next day, Jisoo sent a message to Earth's Interstellar Defense Council. She attached all her data and requested an emergency meeting. 2 weeks later, the council agreed to see her. The Serenity changed course for Earth. Captain Park was not happy. You went over my head, he told Jisoo in his office. You made me look bad. That wasn't my goal, sir, Jisoo said. This is too important to ignore. If you embarrass this ship in front of the council, your career is over, Captain Park warned. When they reached Earth, Jisoo stood before the council in a large meeting room. 12 stern faces looked at her from a high table. Her hands shook as she prepared her presentation. Commander Kim, said General Lee, the head of the council, we understand you believe you found something dangerous. Yes, sir, Jisoo said. I've discovered a growing anomaly at the edge of the Ta City system. It's a tear in the fabric of space itself. She showed them her data, explaining each chart and image. She showed how the tear was growing exponentially. And what do you think this is? Asked General Lee. I believe it's a breach between our dimension and another, Jisoo said. And I think something is trying to come through. The room went silent. Then someone laughed. Soon others joined in. Commander, General Lee said, trying not to smile. Do you have any proof of these visitors? Not yet, Jisoo admitted. But the math shows. The math shows a space anomaly we don't yet understand, interrupted Dr. Choi, the council's chief scientist. Not aliens from another dimension. Jisoo tried again. If we don't act now, it will be too late. We need to send ships to investigate properly. Commander Kim, General Lee said, your history of unusual theories is well known. Remember your claim about signals in warp drive tests. Jisoo's face flushed. That was different. Was it? General Lee looked at his notes. You've made 6 similar claims in your career. None proved true. As the meeting ended, Jisoo knew she had failed. The council had dismissed her warning. Only one person, Admiral Soo-bin Choi, had seemed interested. She had asked questions about the growth rate of the anomaly. After the meeting, Admiral Choi approached Jisoo. I'm not saying I believe you, the Admiral said quietly. But I'm not saying you're wrong either. Will you help me convince them? Jisoo asked. Admiral Choi shook her head. Not yet. I need more proof. 1 week later, as the Serenity prepared to leave Earth orbit, terrible news arrived. Outpost 17, the closest station to the anomaly, had gone silent. Jisoo rushed to Captain Park's office. Did you hear about Outpost 17? It started. It's a communications failure, Captain Park said firmly. Nothing more. Let me take a shuttle to check, Jisoo begged. Enough, Captain Park shouted. I'm tired of your wild theories. One more word about this, and I'll remove you from duty. That night, Jisoo made a hard decision. She typed out her resignation letter. If the military wouldn't listen, she would find another way. The next day, as she packed her things, her computer beeped. A message from Luna Observatory offering her a position. The message had one line at the end. We believe your research has merit. Admiral Choi. Jisoo smiled. She wasn't alone anymore. And from Luna, she could keep watching the growing tear in space. She had to be ready when whatever was on the other side finally came through. 6 months passed. Jisoo worked day and night at Luna Observatory, tracking the growing tear in space. The small room with its large window facing Earth became both her office and home. She rarely slept more than 4 hours at a time. One morning, a loud beep woke her. Jisoo jumped up from her small bed and rushed to her computer. 3 emergency alerts flashed on the screen. Computer, what's happening? She asked. rubbing sleep from her eyes. 3 outposts have lost contact. Outpost 22, Outpost 30, and Outpost 43. Jisoo's heart raced. All 3 stations were near the tear. This was no coincidence. She quickly hacked into the military communication system, using access codes Du Hyun had secretly sent her. What she saw made her blood run cold. The Interstellar Defense Fleet had sent 5 ships to investigate Outpost 22. The lead ship, the Valiant Asterisk, was sending back video. Jisoo watched in horror. The outpost was still there, but it looked wrong. Parts of the station bent in impossible ways, as if the laws of physics no longer applied. Inside, the walls rippled like water. And the crew. Jisoo covered her mouth as she watched a recording from inside the station. The outpost commander walked slowly toward a swirling black void in the wall. His eyes were empty. Behind him, other crew members followed in a trance-like state. They walked into the void and disappeared. The Valiant Asterisk sent a team to investigate. Jisoo watched their helmet cameras. As they moved through the station, strange shadows followed them. Not normal shadows. These moved on their own, bending around corners, stretching across walls. When the light hit them directly, they seemed to bend the light around them. Void walkers, Jisoo whispered. That's what she would call them. Beings from another dimension that moved through our world like shadows. Suddenly, one Marine's camera showed a shadow rushing toward him. His scream cut off abruptly. One by one, the other cameras went dark. The admiral in charge ordered an attack on the outpost. 9 more ships joined the battle. Jisoo watched as they fired on the station. Their weapons seemed to pass through the shadow creatures without effect. Then, one by one, the ships began to go dark. Emergency signals flashed. Then nothing. In just 3 hours, 14 ships were lost. Jisoo's computer beeped again. A secure call was coming in. It was Admiral Choi. "You were right," the Admiral said, her face pale on the screen. "We should have listened." "It's too late for that now," Jisoo said. "They're here." "What are they?" Admiral Choi asked. "I call them Void Walkers. They're from another dimension. They're using the tear as a door into our world." Admiral Choi nodded. "We need your help, Commander Kim. The Council is meeting in 1 hour. They want you there." "I'll be there," Jisoo said. "But first, I need to check something." After the call ended, Jisoo pulled up her original research from the Serenity Asterisk. Something had been bothering her. In her first scans of the tear, she had detected a strange radiation pattern. She had forgotten about it in all the chaos. Jisoo gasped as she looked at the old data. The radiation had a unique frequency. And now, looking at the readings from the battle, she saw it again. When the ship's weapons hit the Void Walkers directly, they gave off a brief flash of the same radiation. "Computer, analyze the effect of this radiation frequency on the shadow entities," she ordered. The computer worked for several minutes, then displayed its results. Jisoo's eyes widened. "The entities show instability when exposed to this radiation frequency," the computer reported. "Prolonged exposure may cause disruption to their molecular structure." Jisoo quickly downloaded all the data to her portable device. For the first time in months, she felt a spark of hope. The Void Walkers weren't invincible. They had a weakness. As she boarded the shuttle to Earth for the emergency council meeting, Jisoo's mind raced with possibilities. She didn't just have proof of the threat now. She might have found a way to fight back. The emergency council meeting was very different from Jisoo's last visit. This time, there were no smiles, no laughter, only fear. "Commander Kim," General Lee said, his voice humble now, "we need your expertise." Jisoo stood tall before them. "I've discovered something important. The Void Walkers have a weakness. They become unstable when exposed to a specific radiation frequency." The room filled with murmurs of hope. Admiral Choi stepped forward. "We're giving you command of our newest ship, the Defiance Asterisk. It's been equipped with special shields based on your research. The shields can emit the radiation you discovered. Jisoo blinked in surprise. Command, I'm not a ship captain. You are now, General Lee said. No one knows more about these creatures than you. 3 days later, Jisoo stood on the bridge of the Defiance *. The ship was beautiful, with sleek lines and the most advanced technology Earth had. But when Jisoo saw her crew, her heart sank. Dr. Han Sung was there, now serving as her science officer. Captain Park was not present, but many officers from the Serenity were. The same people who had laughed at her theories now had to follow her orders. Commander on the bridge called out the first officer. Everyone stood at attention. Jisoo could see the doubt in their eyes, the reluctance. They didn't believe in her, even now. At ease, she said, "Our mission is to stop the Void Walkers. We leave in 6 hours. Be ready." As the crew prepared the ship, Do-hyun arrived. Jisoo hugged her friend tightly. "I requested you as my chief engineer," she said. "I need someone I can trust." Do-hyun smiled. "I wouldn't let you face this alone." The Defiance left Earth orbit that evening. Their destination was the largest tier, now near Saturn's rings. As they approached, Jisoo ordered the radiation shields activated. "Void Walker ship detected," reported the sensor officer. "It's heading toward us." On screen, Jisoo ordered. The view screen showed a strange ship. It seemed to bend and twist as if it wasn't fully in their dimension. It was made of a dark material that absorbed light. "Shields at full power," Jisoo said. "Target their engines and fire when ready." The Defiance fired its weapons. The beams hit the alien ship, causing parts of it to shimmer and fade. "It's working," Dr. Han said, surprised. "The radiation is disrupting their molecular structure." But the victory was short-lived. The Void Walker ship adjusted, shifting its form to minimize exposure to the radiation. "They're adapting," Jisoo said. "Increase radiation output." The battle lasted for 2 hours. The Defiance managed to drive the alien ship back, but the radiation emitters were straining under the load. "We can't maintain this level of output for long," Do-hyun reported from engineering. The system wasn't designed for this much power. As they pursued the retreating Void Walker ship, Do-hyun made a startling discovery in the engine room. He called Jisoo immediately. "Come down here," he said. "You need to see this." In engineering, Do-hyun showed her readings from the ship's sensors. "Look at this," he said. "The radiation frequency we're using. Humans naturally produce a similar frequency in our bioelectrical fields. It's much weaker, but it's the same pattern." Jisoo's eyes widened. "That's why they need human hosts. They can't maintain their form in our dimension without absorbing our bioelectrical energy." Do-hyun nodded. "And that gives me an idea. If we could amplify a human's bioelectrical field, we could generate much more of this radiation, enough to push them back through the tier." Jisoo stared at her friend, her mind racing. A human mind, properly amplified, could generate enough energy to repel the invaders. "Exactly," Do-hyun said. "But there's a problem. The human body isn't designed to channel that much energy. It would be dangerous." "How dangerous?" Jisoo asked. Do-hyun looked away. "Probably fatal." Jisoo was quiet for a long moment. Then she contacted Admiral Choi to share their discovery. As the Defiance turned back toward Earth, Jisoo knew what she had to do. Someone would have to make the ultimate sacrifice, and she already knew who that someone would be. Jisoo stood before the Interstellar Defense Council once more. This time, every seat was filled. Admiral Choi sat at the center, her face grim. "Commander Kim, please explain your findings," Admiral Choi said. Jisoo took a deep breath. "The Void Walkers are vulnerable to a specific radiation frequency. This same frequency exists naturally in human bioelectrical fields, but much weaker. We believe we can build a device to amplify this energy and create a weapon against the invaders." "How would this device work?" General Lee asked. Jisoo looked at Do-hyun, who stepped forward with diagrams. "We call it a neural amplifier," Do-hyun explained. "It connects directly to a human operator's nervous system and amplifies their bioelectrical field thousands of times over." The room went quiet. Then someone asked the critical question. "What happens to the operator?" Do-hyun hesitated. Jisoo answered for him. "The human body is not designed to channel that much energy. The operator would likely suffer severe neural damage, possibly fatal." Shocked whispers filled the room. "Is there no other way?" Admiral Choi asked. Jisoo shook her head. "Not in the time we have. 3 more outposts fell yesterday. The Void Walkers are moving faster now." The council debated for hours. Scientists argued about alternatives. Military leaders discussed other strategies. Nothing else seemed viable. Finally, Admiral Choi called for silence. "We have no choice," she said. "Commander Kim, you have authorization to build your neural amplifier aboard the Defiance *. But I need a volunteer operator." "I volunteer," Jisoo said immediately. "No," Do-hyun protested. "There must be another way." "There isn't," Jisoo said softly. "And no one understands the Void Walkers better than I do." Admiral Choi looked at Jisoo for a long moment. "Very well. The mission launches in 3 days." That night, Jisoo sat alone in her quarters on Earth, looking at the stars through her window. There was a knock at her door. Do-hyun entered, his eyes red. "You can't do this," he said. "Let me take your place." Jisoo smiled sadly. "You know why it has to be me. There are other scientists." "Whoa." "No," Jisoo interrupted. "I studied the tear since the beginning. I understand the radiation patterns better than anyone. It has to be me." Do-hyun sat beside her. His hands were shaking. "I've never told you," he said quietly. "All these years, I never had the courage to say it." Jisoo looked at him. "I love you," Do-hyun said. "I always have. Since our first day at the academy." Jisoo felt tears in her eyes. She took his hand. "I know." They sat together in silence, watching the stars. The next morning, Jisoo was surprised to see Captain Park at the Defiance docking bay. He looked older, tired. "Commander Kim," he said formally, "I request permission to join this mission." Jisoo raised an eyebrow. "Why?" Captain Park looked down. "I was wrong about you. I should have listened. Let me make it right. Let me be the operator." Jisoo was shocked. "Why would you sacrifice yourself?" "Because I failed as a captain," he said. "I failed to listen to the truth when it was right in front of me." Jisoo put a hand on his shoulder. "I need you as my first officer, Captain Park. Your experience is valuable." He nodded, understanding she would not give up her place. For the next 2 days, engineers worked around the clock to build the neural amplifier. It was attached to the bridge of the Defiance *, a chair surrounded by complex equipment. Wires and tubes would connect directly to the operator's brain and spine. As Jisoo inspected the finished device, Dr. Han approached her. "Commander," he said awkwardly, I wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything." Jisoo nodded. "Thank you, Dr. Han. I've added extra neural buffers," he continued. "They might reduce the damage to your nervous system. I can't promise anything, but it's appreciated," Jisoo said. On the night before the mission, Jisoo recorded messages for her family. She had accepted her fate. As she prepared for sleep, she looked at Earth one last time through her viewport. Tomorrow, she would face the void. Tomorrow, she would save her world, even if she couldn't save herself. The Defiance approached Neptune's orbit. Through the main viewport, Jisoo could see the tear in space. It was massive now, a swirling storm of darkness and strange lights. It looked like a wound in reality itself. "All stations, report," Jisoo ordered. "Engines at full power," Do-hyun reported from engineering. "Weapons ready," said the tactical officer. Neural amplifier online, Dr. Han said, checking the final connections on the device. Jisoo took a deep breath and looked at her crew. Just days ago, many of them had doubted her. Now, they followed her into battle against an enemy from another dimension. "It's time," she said. She sat in the neural amplifier chair. Dr. Han began attaching sensors to her head and neck. "These will connect your nervous system to the amplifier," he explained. "Once activated, your bioelectrical field will be amplified and projected through the shields." Jisoo nodded. "How long can I stay connected?" Dr. Han hesitated. "We don't know. No one has ever done this before." Captain Park stepped forward. "Commander, it's not too late to let someone else." "No," Jisoo said firmly. "I'm ready." The final connections were made. Jisoo gripped the armrests of the chair. "Activate the amplifier," she ordered. Dr. Han pressed a button. Pain shot through Jisoo's body like lightning. She bit her lip to keep from screaming. It felt like her nerves were on fire, like her mind was being pulled apart. "Bioelectrical field amplification at 200%, Dr. Han reported. 400%, 600%. Through the pain, Jisoo focused on the tear. The ship moved closer. "Void-walker ships detected," called the sensor officer. 7 vessels emerging from the breach. "Project the field." Jisoo gasped through clenched teeth. The Defiance emitted a pulsing blue energy field. When it touched the first Void-walker ship, the alien vessel seemed to shimmer and parts of it began to dissolve. "It's working," someone shouted. Jisoo could barely hear them. The pain was overwhelming now. She felt blood trickling from her nose, her ears. But she held on. "More ships coming through," the tactical officer reported. "Bigger ones this time." "Increase amplitude," Jisoo ordered, her voice weak. "Commander, your vital signs are dropping," Dr. Han warned. "We need to stop." "No." Jisoo focused harder. The blue field expanded, pushing back more Void-walker ships. Suddenly, Jisoo felt something strange. Through the neural link, she sensed a presence. Not human, not physical, something vast and alien. It was trying to communicate. "They're talking to me," she whispered. "Who?" Captain Park asked, leaning closer. "The Void-walkers. They're in my mind." Jisoo closed her eyes, trying to understand the alien thoughts. Images flooded her mind. The Void-walkers' home dimension, once beautiful and vast. Then darkness spreading, consuming everything. The Void-walkers fleeing, desperately searching for a new home. "They're not invading," Jisoo said, her eyes opening wide. "They're running away." "Running from what?" Do-hyun asked over the comm. More images filled Jisoo's mind. A massive entity of pure darkness, larger than planets, consuming entire star systems. The Void-walkers called it the Devourer. "There's something coming after them," Jisoo said. "Something worse. Much worse." Through the neural link, Jisoo established basic communication with a Void-walker consciousness. She conveyed humanity's fear, their need to defend themselves. The Void-walker shared its own fear of the Devourer. "They want to work together," Jisoo told her stunned crew. "The Devourer will come for us next if we don't stop it." As if confirming her words, the tear suddenly expanded. The darkness within it shifted, forming what looked like a massive eye. "It's coming through," Jisoo whispered. Her heart raced with terror. "The Devourer has found us." The neural amplifier sparked and overloaded. Jisoo screamed as she was thrown from the chair. As darkness took her, Jisoo realized the true battle was just beginning. The Void-walkers weren't the enemy. They were simply the first refugees of a war that would decide the fate of all dimensions. Jisoo woke in the medical bay of the Defiance. Her head throbbed with pain. Do-hyun sat beside her bed, his face lighting up when he saw her open her eyes. "You're awake," he said, taking her hand. "We thought we lost you." "How long was I out?" Jisoo asked, her voice weak. 3 days. The neural amplifier overloaded. Dr. Han says you're lucky to be alive. Jisoo tried to sit up. Memories flooded back. The Void Walkers, the mental connection, the Devourer. "We need to talk to the council. Now." Admiral Choi didn't believe her at first. None of them did. "You want us to work with these Void Walkers?" General Lee asked, his face red with anger. "After they killed hundreds of our people." They sat in the main conference room on Earth. Jisoo had insisted on coming, despite her doctor's protests. "They were desperate," Jisoo explained. "They didn't understand our biology. They thought they could share our bodies, not realizing it would kill us." "And we should trust them?" Admiral Choi asked, but her tone was more curious than angry. "We have to," Jisoo said. "The Devourer is coming. It consumes entire dimensions. First it will take the Void Walker's world, then ours." She showed them the images from her mind. Entire solar systems being swallowed by darkness. After hours of debate, Admiral Choi made her decision. "Commander Kim, you have authorization to establish communication with these beings. But at the first sign of betrayal, we will destroy them." Back aboard the Defiance Asterisk, Jisoo prepared to use the rebuilt neural amplifier. Dr. Han had made improvements. "I've added filters to protect your brain from overload," he told her. "But it's still dangerous." "I understand," Jisoo said, sitting in the chair once more. This time, when the connection formed, there was less pain. Jisoo reached out with her mind, calling to the Void Walkers. They answered immediately. Through images and emotions more than words, Jisoo learned the truth. The Void Walkers were ancient beings of energy and thought. They had lived peacefully until the Devourer appeared in their dimension. It was a cosmic parasite that fed on reality itself. Jisoo shared this with her crew and the council. "The Void Walkers know how to seal the dimensional breaches," she explained. "But they need our help." "What kind of help?" Admiral Choi asked. "They understand dimensions but lack physical technology. We have the opposite problem. Together, we might have a solution." Over the next week, Jisoo worked as a bridge between humans and Void Walkers. Scientists and engineers collaborated with the alien consciousness to develop a plan. "We need to place a massive energy source inside the largest breach," Jisoo explained to the council. "The Defiance Asterisk will be modified to carry an experimental quantum singularity drive." "And what will this do?" General Lee asked. "The Void Walkers will use their dimensional knowledge to redirect the explosion. Instead of expanding outward, the energy will collapse the breach, sealing it permanently." "And the other breaches?" Admiral Choi asked. "Once the main breach is sealed, the others will follow. Like closing a master valve in a plumbing system." The plan was approved. Engineers worked day and night to modify the Defiance Asterisk. The neural amplifier was integrated directly into the ship's systems, with Jisoo as its core. Many crew members requested transfers, afraid of the mission. Jisoo didn't blame them. The chance of survival was small. Dr. Han surprised her by volunteering to stay. "I need to monitor the neural amplifier," he said. "And I want to make things right. I should have believed you from the start." Captain Park also stayed, as did Do-hyun, and a skeleton crew of volunteers. As they prepared for the mission, reports came in of the Devourer pushing tentacles of darkness through smaller breaches. Earth colonies on Mars and Europa were evacuated. Time was running out. On the night before launch, Do-hyun came to Jisoo's quarters. "I've been thinking," he said. "After this is over, maybe we could." Jisoo smiled sadly. She didn't say what they both knew, that she might not survive the mission. Instead, she took his hand. "One problem at a time," she said softly. "First, we saved the universe." The main breach near Neptune had grown large enough to swallow Jupiter. As the Defiance Asterisk approached, the crew fell silent. The tear looked like a massive black hole with swirling purple and red energy around its edges. "All systems ready," Captain Park reported from the helm. Jisoo sat in the neural amplifier chair, now permanently installed on the bridge. Dr. Han attached the final connections to her head and spine. "Neural pathways aligned," he said. "Ready when you are, Commander." Jisoo looked at her small, brave crew. "Thank you all for staying," she said. "You know the risks." Do-hyun stood at the engineering station. His eyes never left Jisoo's face. "We believe in you," he said simply. Jisoo nodded. "Activate the amplifier. Take us in." As the neural connection formed, Jisoo gasped in pain. But it was different this time. She could feel the Void Walkers waiting for her, helping to buffer her mind against the shock. "Bioelectrical field stable," Dr. Han reported, projecting protective shield now. A blue bubble of energy surrounded the Defiance *. Captain Park guided the ship toward the breach. "Entering the breach in 3, 2, 1, he counted down. The ship shuddered as it crossed the threshold. Outside the viewports, reality itself seemed to bend and twist. Colors appeared that Jisoo had never seen before. The laws of physics no longer applied. "Hull integrity holding," the engineer reported, amazed. "The shield is working." Through the neural link, Jisoo could sense the Void Walkers guiding them, showing them the path. But she also felt something else, a vast, hungry presence watching them. "The Devourer knows we're here," she warned. "We need to hurry." Captain Park pushed the ship deeper into the breach. They needed to reach the exact center to place the quantum singularity. Suddenly, the ship lurched violently. Warning lights flashed across the bridge. "Something's pulling us off course," Captain Park shouted, fighting the controls. Through the viewport, Jisoo saw it. The Devourer was no longer just a presence. It had taken physical form, a massive shape of darkness that seemed to eat the light around it. Tentacles of pure black energy reached for the Defiance *. "Full power to the shields," Jisoo ordered. Do-hyun worked frantically at his station. "The quantum singularity is destabilizing. The detonation mechanism is damaged." Jisoo focused all her mental energy, calling to the Void Walkers for help. They responded, pushing back against the Devourer's pull. "We need 5 more minutes to reach the deployment point," Captain Park said, his face covered in sweat as he fought to keep the ship on course. Jisoo's body was starting to fail. Blood trickled from her nose and ears. "I don't know if I can hold the shield that long," she admitted. Do-hyun looked up from his console, his face pale. "The detonation mechanism is completely fried. We can't trigger the singularity remotely anymore." A terrible silence fell over the bridge. Everyone understood what this meant. "Someone will have to stay behind," Captain Park said quietly, "to trigger it manually." Jisoo tried to stand. "I'll do it." "No," Do-hyun's voice was firm. "You need to maintain the shield until the last moment. Without you, the ship won't make it out." Before anyone could stop him, Do-hyun grabbed the manual trigger device and headed for the door. "Do-hyun, wait," Jisoo called out. He turned back, his eyes meeting hers one last time. "I've loved you since the academy, Jisoo. I always will." He rushed to her chair and kissed her quickly. Then he was gone, running towards the engine room. Captain Park gave Jisoo a sad nod. "I'll get the rest of us out. I promise." The next few minutes were a blur of pain and concentration. Jisoo poured every ounce of her strength into maintaining the shield as the ship reached the center of the breach. The Devourer's tentacles scraped against the blue energy field, searching for a way in. "Do-hyun is in position," came his voice over the comm. "Get ready to leave fast." "Engines at full reverse," Captain Park ordered. "Ready on your mark, Engineer Kang." Do-hyun's voice was calm. "It's been an honor serving with you all. Jisoo, live well." "Do-hyun, please," Jisoo whispered, tears streaming down her face. "Mark," Do-hyun shouted. Captain Park threw the ship into reverse. At the same moment, the quantum singularity began to activate in the engine room. As the Defiance raced for the exit, Ji-Soo felt Do-hyun's consciousness brush against hers one last time through the neural link. Then a blinding light filled the breach, and everything changed. A blinding explosion pushed the Defiance out of the breach like a leaf in a storm. The ship tumbled through space, systems failing, hull creaking. Inside, the crew was thrown against walls and consoles. Ji-Soo remained connected to the neural amplifier, her mind stretched between dimensions. Through the pain, she watched the breach. The quantum singularity had created a storm of energy unlike anything humans had ever seen. The massive tear in space began to fold in on itself, shrinking. "It's working," she whispered, blood trickling from her lips. The Devourer fought against the collapsing breach. Its dark tentacles reached out, trying to keep the door open. Ji-Soo used the last of her strength through the neural amplifier to shake the explosion's energy, directing it to push the Devourer back. With a final flash of light, the breach sealed completely. The shock wave hit the Defiance knocking out their remaining power. "Emergency systems only," Captain Park ordered, his face lit by red warning lights. "Status report. Life support functioning at minimal levels," reported the engineer. "Engines offline. Communications offline." Dr. Han rushed to Ji-Soo's side. The neural amplifier had fused with the chair, with wires now embedded in Ji-Soo's skin. He couldn't disconnect her. "Commander Kim needs medical attention immediately," he shouted. Ji-Soo could barely hear them. Something strange was happening to her mind. The neural amplifier had changed her. She could still sense the dimensional energies even with the breach closed. She could feel the smaller tiers throughout the solar system sealing themselves as the quantum reaction spread. "The other breaches," she said weakly. "They're closing too." For 3 days, the damaged Defiance drifted in space. The crew worked desperately to repair communications while keeping Ji-Soo alive. Her body was failing, but her mind seemed to be growing stronger, expanding. On the 3rd day, she sensed something. A message, not in words but in pure thought, brushing against her consciousness. "The Devourer is wounded but not destroyed." It was the Void Walkers, reaching out to her across dimensions. "It will return. It will seek the one who heard it, the human who stands against the Void." Ji-Soo understood. This wasn't over. The Devourer would heal, would find another way to break through, and it would remember her. Medical ships found the Defiance later that day. Doctors were shocked to discover they couldn't remove the neural amplifier from Ji-Soo. It had become part of her, changing her brain and nervous system on a fundamental level. "What does this mean?" Admiral Choi asked the doctors at the Earth hospital where Ji-Soo recovered. "We don't know," they admitted. "Her brain activity is like nothing we've ever seen. She can perceive energies and frequencies that shouldn't be possible for humans to detect." 1 month later, Ji-Soo stood before the Interstellar Defense Council. The room was packed with officials and media. She was to receive humanity's highest honors. "Commander Kim," General Lee said, "you saved not just Earth, but our entire dimension. How can we ever thank you?" Ji-Soo looked at them all. The neural amplifier was still visible on her neck and skull, now redesigned into a sleeker device. Sometimes, when she was tired, her eyes flickered with the same energy that had once filled the breaches. "The Defiance is being rebuilt," she said. "I request command of the new vessel." Admiral Choi looked surprised. "You want to go back into space? After everything?" Ji-Soo nodded. "I need to explore beyond our solar system. To monitor for any new threats." She didn't tell them about the Void Walker's warning. Didn't explain that she could feel the Devourer still out there, wounded but healing, searching for another way in. They would only fear her if they knew what she had become. 3 months later, Jisoo stood on the bridge of the asterisk Defiance I asterisk. The ship was larger, stronger, built specifically for her needs. Captain Park had requested to serve under her again. Dr. Han too. Even some who had once doubted her most strongly now volunteered eagerly. As the ship left Earth's orbit, Jisoo looked into the stars. Her eyes briefly glowed with dimensional energy. The neural technology in her body hummed softly. She was no longer just human. She was something new. The bridge between dimensions, the sentinel, the one who stood alone against the void. And when the devourer returned, she would be waiting.